this episode, the framing table is removed and we get a feel for the keel.
Hi, I'm Bill England and welcome to the Ambler Odysseys YouTube channel. I am vlogging the build of a George Buehler designed 48-foot wooden troller yacht here in my Summerside, Prince Edward Island, Canada backyard boat shed. With the frames built, we are on to laminating the keel. When she is complete, we will sail the seven seas in search of adventure.
Having gallantly served its purpose, the framing table is disassembled and the starboard forward corner of the boat shed is cleaned up. Right, so here we are. Frames are done. So now I got to transition the boat shed to get ready to start working on the keel. So I've been tidying up a little bit, doing a little bit of reorganizing. But the big project I'm going to do this afternoon is take down the framing table. Frames are done. Hallelujah. So I don't need this big table in here anymore. So I'm going to take her down and then figure out a little more organizational decisions on where I want to put stuff before I get into working on the keels next week. So. House cleaning.
One way to help Bill with this boat build project is to keep him well caffeinated. Head over to ko-fi.com to buy him a coffee. See the link in the description.
The keel for a wooden diesel duck is made from laminating timbers into various sub-assemblies which will themselves be laminated together to form one large keel, outlined here in red, that runs from stem to stern. The keel timbers will be made from larch, which will be milled down to 1.5 by 9-inch timbers. Check out episodes 7 and 8 to watch how the keel lines were lofted and patterns made. The lamination will be backed up with keel bolts. At each frame location, a 3/4 inch galvanized iron keel bolt will be drilled through the center of the floor timber and the keel itself. The washer and nut on each end of the bolt will be recessed into the keel. The longest keel bolt will be at frame 42 and measure 5 feet 4 inches long. The first of the 10 keel sub-assemblies to be made will be the stem and transom knees. Knees in a boat are used to brace two adjoining timbers. Traditionally, knees have been cut from a turn in a tree, either where a large branch turns out from the trunk or where the base of the trunk turns out into large roots. This turning takes advantage of the natural strength of the bending fibers. Next up to be made will be a piece of deadwood that will assist in strengthening and adding thickness to the upper forefoot. The forefoot will run upwards from station 16 to the stem. This upward angle will allow the boat to cut through or displace the water. At its forward end, it will be notched to connect to the base of the stem. The forefoot's base will be shaped to fit into a notch in the ballast keel. The two largest sub-assemblies will form the ballast keel. Their shape, large surface area, and corresponding weight will keep the ship buoyant and will aid in reducing the rolling moment, that being the period of time a boat rolls along its length from one side to another and back again. The lower ballast keel will be formed from 8 layers of laminated timbers, and at its base will run 29 feet from the stern to its forefoot, with its forward end being shaped to receive the forefoot. The upper ballast keel will be 9 layers thick, and its upper side will run over 35 feet and be angled to attach to the forefoot. The next subassembly, at just over 19 feet in length, will form the lower shaft alley in its aft end, while its forward slope will help support the engine mounts. On top will lie the upper shaft alley. Both the upper and lower shaft alley will have a 1 3/4 inch deep by 2 3/4 inch wide channel cut into them that, when they are laminated together, will form the housing for the propeller shaft. Along the shaft alley, the keel bolts will be drilled on either side. On top of the shaft alley timbers will be the horn timber assembly. The transom and transom knee will sit on its aft end. The final keel subassembly to be built and also attached will be the stem. At 10.5 inches thick and 10 feet long, it will form a sizable bow, and should it be necessary, act like a car's bumper, protecting the rest of the boat from anything it should strike.
The keel lamination, I'll be using a resistinol glue product that requires a very high clamping pressure, so the keel timbers that I laminate up, there'll be a lot of clamps, essentially every clamp I have, plus some clamps I'm going to make. And once this is all cleaned up, I've got to give my cradle another just good going over to ensure it's level. I did that before I built it, but now I know there's a few high spots on the cross members, so I just want to plane those down, so that as I'm building the keel, the sub-assemblies, that they'll be on a flat process. Of course, once the keel is built, it'll actually raise up from aft forward to frame 14 before it bends up sharply towards the stem. So everything's in movement. Once the keel's built and in place, I'll get to a point where I'm not going to move the keel again until this boat gets shipped out of here.
When all is said and done, The keel should look like this. In the next episode, we get down to building the keel sub-assemblies, starting with the knees and idwood. Thanks for joining me for this episode. For a front row seat on this do-it-yourself boat build project, please like, subscribe, and be notified on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube to the Ambler Odysseys. Till next time, toodly-doo.